welcome. You guys can see me okay? Make sure I got everything set up on my end. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, October 13th. Welcome to the call. This is the call for this week. I usually do these calls every week. Sometimes I skip a week. But I'm here with you guys for the next 30 minutes to answer any questions that you guys have that are barbershop related. Hello there. So anything barber related, running a barbershop, how to grow as a barber, I'm here for you guys. But I thought I could start with first answering some questions in the community. Hold on one second, let me fix this. There we go. If you guys don't know, I have this free community called the Barber Mastermind, and I will share my screen with you so you can see it. Here you go. All right. So that should be popping up for you any second on Instagram. All right. So this is the community I'm talking about. It's actually 100% free to join, free to be in it forever. You can interact with 3,100 plus other barbers that are inside. And this is just a community for barbershop owners, aspiring barbers, cosmetologists too. Cosmetologists are welcome. We mainly talk about barbering though. And this is where we connect, grow. I have courses, that's where you can find them in a classroom. A lot of them are free. Some of them aren't, but it's there. It's there for you guys. And this is my way of giving back. So the way to join this community is you just go to the link in my bio, or you can go to school.com, school with a K.com/barbers, and join. 100% free. If you've never been on school before, then you might have to create an account, but that's also free. And yeah, that's it. And then you can see in the classroom, that's where all the courses are. Calendar, that's where you can see any events that we have coming up. As you can see, we have at least one call every single week. And you can go to the members tab, see who's inside the community. You can go to the map, which is kind of a cool feature. And you can actually see where everybody is. So, of course, we have people from all over the world, which is kind of cool. But mainly in the U.S. So you can see where everybody's at. And there's also a leaderboard. So you earn points in this community by posting and, you earn points when somebody likes your post or when somebody likes your comment. And then as you earn more points, you level up. Yeah, so that's what this leaderboard is. And then as you level up, you actually unlock stuff for free, right? All-Star Barber Shop Valrico, welcome. And so this is 100% free to join. You can basically either it's kind of like video games. It's kind of the best way I've heard about how you can either pay to unlock everything, or you can grind. So either grind or pay. That's kind of how the community's set up, right? So all this stuff right here that you see on your screen is 100% free, but the way you unlock it is by grinding. You gotta engage in the community. You gotta ask questions, respond to other people's questions, stuff like that. But you don't have to do that. But that's it's a free way to get all the stuff that's inside, right? Or if you don't want to do that, you can just buy whatever course you need. I'm also I'm waiting on School. There's a feature coming out with School soon, where they're going to have an option where you can have basically, if you want to, you can just pay monthly and have access to all the courses. So I'm waiting on School to release that feature, but it'll probably be a really reasonable price when I do release it. So that way it could be kind of like Netflix, but for barbershop business stuff. That's kind of the way I see it. So it'll probably be similarly priced to Netflix too, because I want to make it affordable for you guys. So so I thought I could start this Q&A call. If you guys obviously type any questions you have in the chat, but I thought I could start because it's been a while since I went to the community and answered questions. So I thought I could start there because that usually sparks some questions from you guys. So I want to share my screen again, and then you guys can feel free to chime in any questions you have by typing in the chat. All right, so there's been a few questions since our last call. I think I answered this one, but slow days, just know that slow days are normal in our business. Well, the slow times are usually normal, right? But I don't think that posting on social media is the best way to get clients. I think that social media is important, but the way that I look at it is that it acts as a almost like a digital business card. So I think it's important to be active on social media and to have a portfolio on there. But you know, I didn't build my barbershop by posting on social media. Some people do that. I just don't talk about it because that's not the way I built my business. The way I built my business is by getting a lot of good reviews on Google and by running ads. So that's what I tend to talk about because that's what worked for me. I'm not the social media guy, but I do use social media. We post probably more consistently than almost anybody else in our city. But I see that as a way of when somebody sees our ad, then they go to our social media because that's what usually what people do. Most people don't see an ad and then they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna book an appointment with you now." Like that's usually not the way it works. Usually they see your ad. When somebody sees your ad, they're gonna go check you out first, right? So I think that if you just run an ad for your barbershop, you can be successful with that, I think. But you'll have more success, I think, if you have other things in your favor. So you're running an ad, and then you also have a lot of good positive reviews on Google. And then you also have a strong social media so that when people are doing research on you, they see your ad and they go to your profile and then they see some good work there. They're like, oh, these people are pretty good. And even then, sometimes people still take a few times. I think it's like 7 times that somebody has to see your ad before they actually take action on it. So just know it's a patience game when it comes to marketing, right? The problem is that most barbers don't think about marketing until they're slow. But if you don't stop marketing, then you'll have less slow days. So even when you're busy, you still want to keep marketing. Don't stop marketing ever, really, is the lesson from that, even when you're busy, because you could always raise your prices, right? If you just continue to get busier and busier and busier. But I think that you want to keep marketing because there's slow times probably around the corner, right? Like next month, right? We're getting into November, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas after that. So of course, you're going to see barbers posting on social media like, I'm booked. Well, of course you are, right? And even worse, maybe barbers planning on raising their prices right before the holidays. I mean, you guys do whatever you want. It's your business. But the thing is, like, I know what's coming, and I'm actually making a video I'm editing a video on this right now. I just shot it like 2 days ago. But you can actually predict what's going to happen in your business once you start collecting data. And so we've been doing this for years, and now I know that November, December are going to be crazy busy because it is every year. But January is going to suck most of the time, right? So this is why I think you want to wait at least 3 months, if not more, to know that this is like a consistent pattern now, right? Don't go off of just like 1 month or 2 months. I think 3 months, like if you're slow for 3 months, okay, that might be an issue, right? But if you have one slow day, one slow week, even a slow month, like that's not an indication that your business is dying. Like that's not enough data, you know? But social media is not my favorite way of getting clients, except for this way. So I think that the best way to use social media, and Instagram is my favorite platform, but you can do this on any platform that allows this, right? But I like to, when it comes to social media, I like to think of it as hunting, right? So you can go on there and find the clients that you want and DM them. Right, so you can just go on Instagram, for example, try to find people that live in your city, and then slide in the DMs, right? The reason I don't do that now is because it's very time consuming. So if you don't have time, then you should probably spend money for marketing. If you don't have money, then you should probably spend time. All right, but either way, you got to do something to get people in the door, because otherwise, you know, you shouldn't be surprised that you're slow, right? So let me share my screen again. I thought there were some good responses on here, but I also have a pretty decent video. I think it's a pretty good video on my YouTube channel, which I shared in my response here, which is 16 things that you can do as a barber on slow days. And this actually comes from a checklist that we have in our shop. I think let me see if I can pull it up for you guys, because I think it's in the community. So if we go to the community and we go to, let's see, templates and posters, I share a lot of the posters that I use inside my shop, inside this community. Let's see, so slow days, we're looking for a slow days poster. New stickers, magnets. Not the membership flyer. Okay, it might be, let's see, it might be in a different course. Checklist. Okay, it's probably in here. Yeah, slow days checklist. Okay, so this is this video that I was just talking about, and this is the checklist. So it looks a lot like this. And yeah, there's 16 things that you can do in your barbershop to help fill your chair, right? Or at least make it less likely that your chair is slow in the future. So this is inside the community right now. It's called Barbershop Checklists. And so this is where I share like a lot of the checklists that I actually use in my shop, right? So that's inside there. But I also thought that there were some other good responses to this question. So Craig said, offer free haircuts. Yeah, if you're going to be there all day, might as well, right? Get to know your neighbors, business cards. Yep. And more free haircuts. A lot of people think free haircuts help. It's certainly a strong offer, and if you got nothing better to do, why not? You know, you got to be there in the shop anyway, so you might as well make it worth it, right? Maybe do something that's gonna increase the likelihood that your schedule's full in the future. Like, we can't do anything about today, right? But we can maybe plan on, okay, how can we start filling our schedule tomorrow, next week, a few months from now, right? And if you're always thinking about that, then you're gonna have less and less slow times, especially if you're retaining your clients. Like, that's the ultimate thing. Like, I think that unfortunately, like most barbers don't maybe understand this yet, but I think that if you're always looking for new clients, that's a symptom of a problem, a different problem. It's not that you don't have enough clients, it's that you're probably losing the clients that you have. So we need to figure out what happened to all the clients you saw last month. What happened to all the clients you saw last year, right? So, because even if you get really good at marketing, if you don't get good at retention, then you're gonna have to keep marketing, right? And you don't want to do that. You know, it's way more profitable, and in my opinion, way more enjoyable just seeing the same clients over and over and over again, versus just like a new client who may or may not come back. They may not even live there, and you're just kind of you don't have nothing to go off of, right? You don't know how they like their haircut. You don't know what to talk about with them. Whereas you avoid all that if you just get the same clients coming back, right? So there was another question that came up in the community that I thought was a good one. I'll pull it up on screen. So Barbers bonus policy. So he said, at our barbershop, we've had a simple bonus system where the barber earns the bigger the bonus, and it worked great until we started introducing offers, discounts, and now even subscriptions. Suddenly, some of the barbers began raising concerns. These discounts are cutting into our bonuses. We're working just as hard, but earning less. And basically, my response to this is the way we started doing it in our shop is, let me unshare my screen. But when it comes to offering discounts to clients, I think that if you're running a commission or hourly based shop, the way I do it is I pay them, the barbers, based on the full price of the service or the product before the discount, right? Because I just see that as a cost of marketing. So, for example, we have a membership program. We have about 800 members in our shop that pay, a minimum of $35 a month to get their haircut. For that, they get one haircut a month for the $35 a month plan. Our normal price right now is $45 though. But when the barber checks out that client, it shows up as a $45 service on their sales. So they get paid on the $45 service, not $35. So it doesn't affect what they make at all. And I do the same thing with every other promotion that we do. So if I put a discount out there to try to bring in business or try to push something, it doesn't affect the barbers like at all. So they get paid if it's a product discount, if they get paid on the full price of the product, the commission. If it's a service discount, they get paid on the full. So the important thing is that you do the math to see if you can afford to do this. And this is why probably the most underrated thing that most barbershop owners and barbers need to know how to do is price their services correctly, right? And it took me years to learn this. But if you don't have enough profit margin in your services, then it may be difficult to do that, right? So don't just take my word for it. Like, do the math to make sure that this makes sense for your business. I did make a course about this, which I'll show you guys where to find this. This is actually one of the first courses I made. It is inside the community, inside the classroom. You go to how to price your haircuts. And this is actually one of the shorter courses too. There's 6 lessons, and I go through each part about how to figure out how to price your services. This is the number one step because some of you guys ask me about memberships and things like that, but honestly, you shouldn't even be thinking about doing memberships if you don't even have your regular pricing figured out, right? And don't do what I said about like paying your barbers the full price if you're not confident that you have enough profit margin in your services to kind of absorb that cost. So the first step, look at your pricing, make sure that you can afford it, and if you can, then just pay them on the full price, right? Because that way there's no what is good for them is also good for the business. So ultimately, like that's what I try to strive for. Is I try to always align what is good for the barbers with what grows the business, right? Because if they know they're going to make less when on a member, for example, when a member comes in to get their haircut, then they're going to have no incentive to want to get people on the membership. But I think a lot of my barbers understand that when a member comes in, it doesn't affect how much they make at all. Like in fact, they make more usually because members are usually more frequent. They tend to tip better and they buy products. So I set it up in a way so that there's no difference when they check out a member versus when they check out a regular non-member. It looks the same on their sales, right? So yeah, that's and so when you do a discount, I think it's a good idea to make sure that you still pay your barbers based on the full price of the service, assuming that you have enough profit margin in your services to absorb that hit. If not, then you may want to reevaluate how you price your services so that you can do that. Otherwise, you're going to be wondering why the barbers aren't wanting to help with marketing and all that stuff or sell your memberships is because they're going to make less. So why would they do that? All right. So here's another question that came up in the community. I thought this was a good one. So I saw a few videos lately on cutting faster, just wondering how fast do you do your haircuts? Is getting faster a priority to you? I'm in the UK and the norm is 30 minutes. If you're not doing that, then you'll be very lucky to get employed. So great question. So this is actually another course. This is one of the first courses that I made as well, which is how to cut hair faster. You can find that in the classroom as well, because this is something that anybody can do right now to make more money. Just learn how to do the same haircut, same quality, same customer service, but just doing it a little bit less time. So if you've in the top right here is the How to Cut Hair Faster course. And this course actually took me like over a year to put together, like long time, right? Because I just kept thinking of more and more and more things. But in this course, I kind of go over the exact strategies that I've used to lower my haircut times. But the important thing is to answer your question, how fast do we do our haircuts, and is getting faster a priority? So I'll unshare my screen so I can answer that question. As far as how fast do we do our haircuts, at our shop right now we do 30-minute appointments for haircuts. We actually have two different types of haircuts that we offer. We have our classic haircut, which is like 80% of what we do is classic haircuts. But we also, I think it was like 2 years ago or something like that, we started offering a premium haircut, which is 45 minutes. And that basically they're basically paying for the time, the clients, for that service. And it also comes with a shampoo. We used to throw in all this other stuff, but we just kind of reduced it to you just get extra time and a shampoo. And the reason why we did that is because, well, the main reason was I wanted it to act as a decoy on our menu, right? I didn't actually want people to book it. So I just put a high up. This is something you guys can try too. You can create a service that is expensive, like twice or as much as you want, like, but way more expensive than your traditional services, and then just put it on your menu just as a price anchor, right? Because when people see, $35, $40 for a haircut, 45, that might seem expensive, but if you have it next to, an $80 haircut, then now 45 doesn't look so bad. So that was the original reason why we created our premium haircuts. Then it was like earlier this year or maybe late last year when I had this thought where, what if we use that to kind of steer new clients to book that service, but we made it the same price as a regular classic haircut. So basically, it's almost like giving a new client discount. And again, like I said earlier, the barbers get paid as if it was a premium haircut, the full price premium, not the classic haircut, because we're absorbing that cost. But the idea was we were trying to solve two problems here. We were trying to increase our new client retention by spending more time with new clients. So we try to encourage new clients to book the premium haircut. So that's more time, right? So if it's more time, better consultation. If they change their mind, they show up late, we got time to still make sure that they get a great haircut, right? And then the other problem we were trying to solve is that barbers were complaining to me that it is very difficult to get a new client in it who's never been there before. Sometimes they're coming in with like shoulder length hair and they're like, I want to fade. And I'm like, oh shit, like I got 30 minutes to do this transformation basically. So we started testing, what if we give new clients the premium haircut on their first visit for the same price of the classic? So we started doing it and then we waited. And it turns out that once we started doing that, our new client retention went up. So it's a good idea, I think, to give new clients more time. But our traditional, like most of what we do is classic haircuts, which are 30 minutes. Now, when I started my shop, I was at 15 minutes, 15-minute haircuts. And so I was doing, 3-4 haircuts an hour all day. I was usually in the shop for like 10 hours. My haircut record, the most haircuts I've ever done in one day is 31 haircuts. And I never want to do that again. But that's the most I've ever done. That's back when I was doing 15-minute haircuts. And it was shortly after that I started thinking about how can we differentiate ourselves from these quick cut places. So we started adding time. But because time is money in our business, we had to increase the price because of that. So we went from 15-minute haircuts to 20-minute haircuts, then to 25, and now we're at 30, right? So our haircut time standard, it depends on the haircut, but it's 30 minutes for the classic services, 45 for premium. But I do think that I still have the ability to do a 15-minute haircut because that's how I started, right? So 30 minutes is actually quite easy for me right now. I usually, if it's like a basic haircut, I usually finish in like 20, maybe 25 minutes. And that's actually how you get, I think, how do you start to think about the process of lowering your haircut times? It's not really about what you're doing with the clippers. It's about what you do in between. So if you're taking 10 minutes to clean up in between clients, it doesn't, you're going to be behind, right? If you have 30 minutes to do a haircut and you spend all 30 minutes just doing the haircut, you're already behind, right? Because you still got to clean up, check the guy out, and get ready for the next guy. And that's assuming that the phone doesn't ring or a walk-in doesn't come in or the guy shows up on time. So I think that you want to. It depends on your shop. Typically high volume places, where are they're on the low end of the price scale, you're probably going to have to cut fast, like 15 minutes, because that's the only way those places can stay in business, charging so little for haircuts, because you have to cut fast, right? Now, if you go to a place where, like our shop, where it's 30 minutes, it's going to be more than your standard quick cut places. And that's because we're spending more time with your hair. And then if you go to like a luxury, like high-end salon or a high-end barbershop, where they're spending 45 minutes, an hour on your hair, they're probably going to be charging a lot more. So this is important to think about when barbers are looking for a place to work. Like if you're a barber that likes to do 1 hour haircuts, don't go to a barbershop where the time standard is 15 minutes or 30 minutes. You're not going to make it there. You're too slow, right? So you got this is like sometimes a surprise to barbers when they come and work at our shop. Like when we say the time standard is 30 minutes, like it's actually 30 minutes. It's not a suggestion. Like that's what we got to do, right? And if you can't do that, then you're not going to make it here. Like, because the math doesn't work. Like our performance pay, everything is designed around how fast do we do the haircuts. And I don't even consider 30 minutes fast. That's just like normal time for us, right? But I also think that barbers should have different speeds too. There you got your normal speed, like life is good, you're on time. Let's say 30 minutes that's your normal speed. But then you got okay, this guy showed up 10 minutes late. I'm fully booked all day. Everybody else is booked. And instead of turning him away, I'm going to take him back and get it done. But I got to move a little quicker, right? So you got a different gear that you shift into. And then you also got the opposite end of the spectrum where you got a slow day, you got some gaps, your next guy canceled. So and I like this guy, I've been cutting him for years. So, maybe I'll take 45 minutes on this haircut, right? So I think the point is that barbers should be adaptable. So if you're going to a shop where the haircut time is 30 minutes, then you got to be able to do it in 30. But you also should have the ability to do it in 15 because of those scenarios that I pointed out earlier. And I talk about all this in my how to cut hair faster course, which is inside my community. But getting faster at cutting hair is absolutely something I think every barber should strive for. That doesn't mean you have to cut fast all day, every day. I think you should just have the ability to. You should have the ability to, when the pressure's on, you have the ability to get it done, right? If you're running behind, you can catch up. If a guy shows up late, you can still take him back. Even if everything's good, but the guy wants to add on a beard trim and he just booked a haircut and you're fully booked, if you can cut faster, you can get it done. So barbers that are adaptable, that can dial up or dial down the speed as needed, tend to make more than barbers that can't. You just got to be adaptable in this business. So I think that everybody should have the ability to cut fast. Whether you cut fast or not should just depend on your business and the pricing and the expectations that the clients have when they go to your shop. But I think everybody should be aiming to. So you got 30 minutes. That's another thing. It's like if you got 30 minutes for a haircut, you don't actually have 30 minutes, right? You got to get that haircut done in 20 minutes, maybe 25, because you still got to have time to clean up and do the stuff in between to get ready for the next client, right? So, that's kind of the answer to that question. I think we do 30-minute haircuts, but I'm getting done in 20, 25 minutes in most cases. Sometimes I run behind just because, some people get these skin fades and or they just change their mind or whatever, and it puts you behind, but then you catch up, right? You catch up. Not a big deal. But I think everybody should have the ability to cut fast, right? So you can almost control your income that way. It's one of the easiest ways that any barber can start to make more is just by, And it's not always about cutting faster, too. Sometimes it's just about becoming more efficient. So there's a video in my community. Let me share my screen. If you go to the classroom, you go to, let's see, class recordings. There is a video. I had Ivan Zoot come out here. Some of you guys might have heard of him. He's an OG. So we did a 4-hour class. This was back in 2022. So I learned a lot of these techniques from him. But we did a 4-hour class. I recorded the entire thing, and I made it available inside the community. Now this is one of those where you may have to like level up to unlock. Yeah, you have to get level 7, or you can just hop on the subscription when that becomes available. But in this class recording, Ivan Zoot, he talks about how to cut faster, right? And by the way, if you guys don't know who Ivan Zoot is, he has several world records for cutting hair fast. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to cutting hair. And I paid him quite a bit of money to come out here and show this stuff to us. But I recorded the whole thing and made it available for you guys. Just because, why not, right? So that's there. We also have some other videos. Like this is the most recent class that we did by Patrick Burke. 2-hour class, recorded the entire thing, put it right here, right? So this is the kind of things that are available inside the community. But it's really just about being more efficient. So I found that like when it comes to cutting hair and trying to get faster or trying to lower your haircut times, it's really a lot more about what can I take out? What can I take out? What can I stop doing? Because you guys probably, assuming you have the skill and the right tools, then it's really just about how do we achieve the same result, but with less steps in between, right? For example, one tip you could try doing is maybe start with the top. If some guy comes in and he wants some fade on the side and some scissors on top, a lot of barbers just go right into fading the sides. But some barbers have some success with, okay, instead of starting on the sides, I'm going to start with the top. All right, I'm going to start with the top, get that cut, and then I'll just blend the sides into that. All right, because if you guys have ever done a haircut like that, where you start on the sides and then cut the top, there's usually like this ring around the crown that you have to re-blend in because the length that you are blending into changed. So that's how like you're not even really moving the clippers faster or anything. You're not changing anything about the haircut. You're just changing the order that you did the things in. And so just by like making a few small tweaks like that, you can actually start to lower your haircut times, but you're not actually moving faster. Sometimes it is just literally a matter of moving the clippers faster. But a lot of what I talk about in my How to Cut Hair Faster course is just about taking things out, like changing the order of things, and getting, another thing that slows clients down is talking, or slows barbers down is talking. So you got to get the client to do most of the talking, because if you're talking the whole damn time, then you're going to struggle with your haircuts, right? Because it's hard to do a good haircut, use all your mental energy on the haircut, and talk at the same time. So typically in my shop, the barbers that are good at getting the clients to do the talking are the ones that are good at staying on time, right? Because the barbers that are talking, because they're doing this with their hands, they're not doing any cutting, right? They're talking with the barbers around them, whatever. They're doing everything except cutting hair. And those are the barbers that struggle with haircut times, unsurprisingly, right? Because you're doing talking, you're not cutting. So the barbers that are efficient with cutting hair are the ones that know how to do more than one thing at a time, right? You can have a conversation with your clients and talk to them at the same time, but you want to try to get them to do most of the talking, right? And so I see that's another thing that slows barbers down a lot. But I talk about all this stuff and a lot more inside my inside the course in the community. So go check that out if you're interested. But I do think that cutting hair faster or more efficiently is just an easy thing that any barber can do to start making more money. So, yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. And if there's any questions, type them in the chat. I think I'm gonna hop off soon. Our next call will be probably same time next week. Let me just see what I got going on schedule wise. I don't think I got anything going on next Monday. It'll probably be the same time every week, but in the community, check out the classroom tab or the calendar tab, because that'll be the most updated version of when is actually the next call. Feel free to subscribe, guys. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, that does help me out a lot. It's 100% free too, so that we can help more barbers. All right, and I think that's all. One last thing. I'm working on a membership course. I've been working on it for a long time. This is one of the most like requested courses that I've ever made, and it is almost done. So it's right here inside the community. The membership course, not available yet, but if we go inside, you can see these are all the videos I made for you guys, and I have one more video to make. One more. So I will say, fingers crossed, that this is probably going to be done this week, if not latest next week. So the membership course, how to design a membership program for your barbershop, should be launching and live sometime this week or next week, because I have one video to make, which is about how to scale your membership to multiple locations. That's not going to be a very long, complicated video to make. And then I'm just going to release it. Right. And then, of course, like all the courses, if something changes, I'll update the course over time. So these courses are actually like a living documents, and I update things as I learn and as the things evolve in my business, because I'm actually doing this stuff in my barbershops, and I'm just sharing it with you as I do it, so that you guys can help grow your barbershops as well. So yeah, thanks guys for hopping on the call. Same time next week, and join the community if you aren't in the community already. It's school.com/barbers. The link to it is in my bio. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.